Welcome to the Doggie Dojo. We are on week 8, the final week of our All-Star Foundations Level 1 series. It's been so exciting to have you guys here along the journey, and today we're going to combine some games together to make some awesome behaviors for everything from taking your Shake a Paw behavior and adding it to a canine fitness element, and taking your toy training and making it into an awesome dog training trick. Today we have a lot planned, and so let's jump into our first game, which is Shake a Paw. There are 3 main ways you can teach Shake a Paw. One way, and the most common way, is to put a treat in front of your dog, and when they paw it, say yes, mark the behavior, and then reward. Some dogs, it takes a little bit of time. You put that treat right at the chest, and eventually a dog will normally just lift a paw up, or they'll just kind of readjust their paw. And as soon as you see any paw movement, just mark the word yes and then reward. Yes, good. So since he's doing really good with his left paw, I want to show you from this angle. Yes, good. Any paw movement, yes, good. Don't worry about them hitting your hand just yet. Yes, good. And eventually you just leave it there and they'll, yes. And then what I'll do is I will say the word shake. Yes. Now if you want the other paw, just kind of lead your hand and maybe use the other hand. If you used your right hand to get their left paw, use your left hand to get their right paw. Just leave it over here. Yes, and mark that behavior. It's just more convenient, yes, for them to do it like that. The hand over here, it's more convenient for you to use their left paw. Hand over here, it's more convenient for them to use their right paw. In the beginning stages, you might find your dog wanting to use one paw or the other. And I find it incredibly important to try to be ambidextrous with this and make sure your dog uses both paws, and that your dog is comfortable with both paws, because if they get stuck on using one paw only for this trick, it's really hard to get the other paw going. So in the beginning, when you're shaping this behavior and you're creating this behavior, be sure to work on both the left and the right paw. Another way you could teach this to your dog is similar idea of getting paw movement is lift the treat above the head. Yes, and as soon as you see any paw movement, I'll shift my puppy here so you guys can see. Yes, good. Mark and reward. We're actually kind of getting a little bit of a sit pretty. Yes, good. Yes, good. And some dogs will swipe up, just like he just did, to get the reinforcement. The third and final way that I find actually probably the most successful, if nothing else works, is dragging your hand across the ground and see if they'll swipe at the hand going back and forth like this. Yes, good. Yes, good. That's also another way I find, and how I actually taught my dog Daisy to do it. With my dog Daisy, she wasn't really pawing for food. If there's food in my hand, she actually learned, like we talked about, it's your choice, and to just sit back and not want to paw my hand. And so I had to put a tennis ball in my hand, and I used a tennis ball, dragging it back and forth to get her to want to paw my hand. And that's how I taught my dog Daisy. What's actually great about this trick is it's multiple tricks in one. So of course you got your shake a paw. When your dog shakes your hand, you're shaking your hand like this. And if you put your hand like this, that's like a shake a paw, right? But if you put your hand flat like this, that's a low 5. So, yes, good. And then if you put your hand up kind of closer to their head, you actually have a high 5. So you got shake a paw, low 5, and high 5 you have to do it with your dog. And I haven't done any low 5s or high 5s with him, but it's just a positioning of your hand. That's shake, that's low 5, and that's high 5 eventually. And as soon as they do it without the cookie being in your hand, so you say the word shake, maybe you have to put a yes, good. So what I'll do to fade the cookie out of my hand is I'll put the cookie in the other hand that I'm doing, and I'll say shake, yes, good job, and reward the opposite hand. Shake. Yes, good job. And that gets the cookie out of your hand. And that's true for any behavior. If you tell them to down with no cookie in your hand, you can either just reward from your treat pouch or reward from the opposite hand. Sit. Yes, good job. And I encourage you to do so, because a lot of times dogs, when they're training with you, they're so used to seeing the cookie lured in your hand to do the behaviors that when you don't have a cookie in your hand, it's hard for them to not want to do the behavior. And that was great. He just did spin. And we have our twist game too as well, or right turn. Yes, good job. And there's no cookie in my hand. So that's the next step or next game, really. is to try to get you to do all your behaviors you've been learning in class without the food being physically in your hand. Keep it in a treat pouch, put it in the opposite hand. Also, you can also just put it to the side. So like one of the things I can do is I can put my food up here, off of my person. Mochi, touch. Yes, good job. And then reward from over here. Down. Yes, good job. And reward from over here. And that gets the dog listening to you without having the food physically inside of your hand at all times. The next game we're going to do is Canine Fitness. Now, if you have a Propel like this or any of the other pieces of equipment we've mentioned before, then you're going to get something that's just a little bit elevated. Now, we've done front paw targeting on here before, as you can see. So once your dog understands front paw targeting and does a pretty good job with like the sit and the down like we've done before, what's actually nice about the shake a paw trick is it's a good shoulder exercise. As he lifts his paw up to shake my hand, he's having to put all his weight onto one shoulder. And this is really good. And you do this like a human fitness thing when you go do those reaches. You put yourself in a plank and you reach up and you move one arm at a time up. It has you also build core strength as well. And shoulder strength is really important for dog agility, but in tricks in general, you want your dog to have a lot of strength. Now you can do it in a sit or stand, but standing is a little bit more difficult for a dog. Yes, good boy. Yes, good job. And that's just ways you can combine everything we've been doing in class with the sit and down behaviors and also the shake a paw behavior. Another thing we've been doing in class as well is rear paw behavior search. So now that they've done a little bit of rear paw work, yes, you can start to get them to do rear paws up onto the platform. Now, I've never done back up onto a platform. But yeah, good boy. That was super. But we can start working on backup game from last week onto a surface like this, but also working on down. This is where full back down comes in handy if he has to move his feet back, as you can see. It makes it harder. Back up. He doesn't know exactly what I'm wanting for. So I'm going to do a search cookie, and I'm going to get him to put his rear paws from the other side. Get him centered on there. That's what's nice about the Propels. You can actually work towards where you want their paws to be and see the different quadrants on top of here. And then when you go into a down like this, yes, and stand, it works really nicely. And what's happening here, speaking of shoulder strengthening, is it's offloading some weight from the rear and putting it more on the front of the dog's body. And that's strengthening this front and chest area as well. Shoulder injuries are pretty common in dog agility. And so by doing these canine fitness elements and building that strengthening into your dog's shoulders and their chest and their core, it helps them be much more successful in jumping and doing weave and other activities like stopping on a contact. And so if you work on this with your dog, you're going to not only help them perform better in things like dog agility or just everyday fitness in life, but also hopefully prevent them from future injury as well. Whoa, what a good boy. Look at you. Look at you, bro. So this is all four paws. So we'd add front paws and rear paws. And the next step is actually to work on activities that get them putting all four paws onto canine fitness equipment. But that's what I want to talk about in level 2 of this class series. And so if you're interested in that, make sure to not miss a single video in the future here on the Doggie Dojo by hitting subscribe down below. And also hit that bell icon so you get notified when a new video comes up on my channel. As well as feel free to leave any comment down below if you have any questions or what you would like to see here on the Doggie Dojo. Speaking of future videos, our next series coming out on the channel is Handling Foundations. We're going to talk about different dog agility skills to help you perform the best with your dog in dog agility. But also, a lot of dog agility skills are fantastic for teaching your dog to focus and stay with you on and off the leash. One of the games we're actually doing in that class is a branch off from our cone wrapping exercises we've been doing here in this class, and that is barrel wrapping. Wrap, 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 wrap. Yes. So stay tuned because in a future Doggie Dojo video, wrap, 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 wrap. All this stuff is helping our dogs learn how to move their body in a defined space and how to take obstacles at a distance away from us. Wrap, 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 wrap. Yeah, and then chase us down and follow up and stay at our side. So we'll show that again. Wrap, 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 wrap. Yes! Good job. Very good. The last game we're going to do is utilizing our toy training to build a really cool trick that a lot of people struggle with, which is the hold trick. So with Mochi, get it. Good boy. We've talked about how important it is for them to learn how to play fetch with you and tug with you and just engage with objects and toys with you. Good boy. Very good. Super. And one of the benefits of doing the things we've talked about in class, where you don't punish your dog for grabbing objects and don't punish your dog for having objects in their mouth, is you get really good foundations for the hold trick. And if you aren't familiar with the hold trick is basically you ask your dog to hold random objects. So with the toy, we're going hold. Good boy. Good hold. Yeah, super. What a good dog. And how you start that is exactly what I find what you do is you actually want to reinforce your dog continually to holding an object when they bring it over to you. They don't just spit it out. A lot of time we teach fetch to our dog. We teach them to spit it out as soon as they get over to us. And I encourage you when you're playing fetch with your dog to work on also reinforcing, maintaining a hold on the object when they bring it to you until you say, thank you, or release, or whatever. And that helps out with your training. Then what you could do is just get random objects, whether it's plastic or a wooden spoon or dowel or something, and you get them to go and retrieve random objects for you. Good boy. Oh, man. That's hard. Good job. Super. What a good doggy. What a good job. And when they start to get used to retrieving random objects, you can actually start to get them to hold. Yes, good. Good job. Ready? Hold. Good boy. Super. And what you're going to want to do is when you're working on the hold trick with a regular toy or an object, is you want to mark the biting down and holding behavior and not the release behavior. Yes. Good job. Very good. So that's just the beginnings of hold trick. First starting off with a toy, and then you can actually use random objects as well. Like I can get him probably, of course, to go retrieve this little Frisbee disc here, which is just like the cup, but more designed for a dog toy. Good job, buddy. Oh, no. Oh, no. Of course, it went upside down. You ready? Go. Yeah, good job. What a good boy. Super. Excellent. Thank you. Good job. And that's what I just encourage you guys to do, is just to play with random objects consistently that you deem okay for them to play with. And that way your dogs have a value to want to bring things to you and play around you while still holding things inside of their mouth. Thanks for watching here on the Doggie Dojo. Hit that like button if you've enjoyed this video or series here on the Doggie Dojo, so I know to go ahead and get started on the next set of videos for this series. Next up is handling foundations, and we're going to do a deeper dive into dog agility skills for you and your dog. As always, have some fun with your dog, and we'll see you all next time. Bye.